Eric from Phone Scoop here. Today we're going to talk about the Nokia N95, which I would normally show you right about now, except believe it or not, I'm using the phone to record this. Nokia calls the N95, and all of the N series, multimedia computers and not phones. And they have almost as many features, as well as almost as many buttons as the modern PC. On the front, next to the speaker, is a light sensor for controlling the brightness of the screen, and a video calling camera. Sorry, this only works on European networks. At the bottom, there's soft keys, a send and end key, and all of the keys necessary to run the Symbian OS. The applications key, edit key, clear key, and this new special my own key, which acts as a shortcut. On the right-hand side is the camera shutter, a media shortcut, and the volume keys, which also act as the zoom key when you're using the 5 megapixel camera. Yes, you heard me right. This has a 5 megapixel autofocus camera with a very bright flash. You turn it on simply by opening this shutter button. Turn it off just by closing it. At the top is the power key, which also acts as shortcuts for things like choosing profiles. And finally, on the left-hand side are no keys at all. There's stereo speakers on both the left and right sides. This is a 3.5mm headset jack, which you can use with your regular headphones or with special phone headsets that use the same size jack, an IR port, and the micro SD slot, which is actually pretty easy to get to for a phone. When I open it up, you can see the numeric keypad below. I'm not sure if I can show you. Yes. But along each row, there's a hump that runs along the entire row. This is great for feeling out the keys. Unfortunately, we found ourselves sliding off the hump and into the key above or below the number we were actually pressing while texting, which sometimes ran into some problems. You'd think that's all, but it's not. The N95 also slides open in the other direction to reveal a set of media keys and a media menu, which is this carousel here. And this is really where Nokia gets the name multimedia computer for this phone. Who wants to talk about boring old phone stuff when the N95 can do so much more? For starters, let's talk about this 5 megapixel camera, shall we? You can see the lens cover is closed. I'm going to slide it open, and you can see it takes about 4 seconds for the camera software to start up. Once it has, then you can take a picture. The shutter button works just like on your regular point-and-shoot camera. You press it down halfway to focus, and then the rest of the way to take the picture. Right now it's showing us a red square when we're focusing, telling us that we're too close. However, we can actually change scene modes and go for a macro mode. And once we have green, we can shoot the picture. It takes about 2 seconds to snap the picture, and then another 3 or 4 seconds to process it. You can see once it's processed it, though, that the picture is beautiful. And you get a menu of things that you can do with this picture, including upload it to blogs, send it off, do all sorts of other stuff. If we want to delete this to go back, you can see that in addition to mode selection, you have a wide variety of camera controls here, everything from exposure and color to the regular camera settings. The N95 also has a video mode, which takes full VGA video, which we use to shoot the intro to this segment. You can turn off the camera just by closing the lens cover. If the lens cover... You can turn off the camera just by closing the lens cover. If the lens cover opens accidentally in your pocket, the camera will actually time out after a little bit of disuse so that you don't run down the battery. And speaking of the battery, I know I said that this is the follow-up to Nokia's N80, which had a pretty bad reputation as far as battery life goes. The N95 does much better. We got at least a day and a half of use on a single charge, and that's using this phone a lot. N95 isn't just about creating multimedia, but also is strong in playing it back. If we slide the phone open in landscape format to reveal the media controls, you can see this carousel that gives us access to playback for pretty much anything that works well in landscape format, as well as stuff like games and web browsing. It starts on the music player, which when we launch it, you'll see, looks like your average standalone music player. In fact, in our experience, this is almost good enough to replace your standalone music player if you only carry around a couple albums worth of songs with it. You can see you can sort by artist, album, the usual stuff. When we go into albums, it's sorted by track order instead of alphabetical order. And once the music starts playing now, you can hear that the speakers are actually pretty good. It sounds soft now, but it gets very loud very quickly. In addition to playing music back through the built-in speakers, you can also play music back through the 3.5mm jack or Bluetooth headphones if you have those. One of the nice things is that you have access to all the other phone functions while music is playing back. You aren't limited, so if we go back to the menu, you can do anything, including stuff like browse the web or anything else. We're actually going to hit phonescoop.com just to show you what the web browser's like. Now as PhoneScoop loads, one of the great things that we can show you is that these media buttons still work even though we're not in the music player. So we can jump to the next song and you can see we get a little status here. Or we can pause, stop our music, etc. We can start scrolling through our website just to check out what it's like. The browser works to format the text so that it'll fit in the width of the screen column. Right now it's fitting it to the width of the landscape screen, but if we switch to portrait format, you can see the text is automatically reformatted so that you still don't have to scroll left and right by the column. In addition to an amazing music player, this also has a great video player. So we can check out a movie. This plays H.264 movies, which is also the format that's used in the iPod as well as in the PSP. So we actually encoded a movie here, and you can check it out. The playback is actually really nice and smooth on it. Enough of that. Time to give you a little bit about using it as a phone. One of the things that we haven't had a chance to say yet is that the N95 probably has the best signal strength of any GSM phone with a built-in antenna ever. A lot of times we do what we call the vault test, which is taking a phone down into a bank vault just to see how the reception is. And where normally we would get 1 or 2 bars, we got 3 or 4 bars with the N95. In addition, let's give it the PhoneScoop test real quick just so that you can see the texting, and we'll see if we can actually get it right and our fingers won't slide off the humps of the keys. Oh, it looks like I slipped once. There's no doubt about it. The N95 packs a lot of features. However, they come at a cost. When you consider how long it takes the camera to start up or the GPS to acquire a signal, you see that the N95 still can't do things quite as well as standalone devices can. But it certainly does reduce the number of devices you'd have to carry around in your pocket to do all those same things.